Peter Duggan. I lead the Botanical Pharmaceuticals team in the Biomedical Manufacturing Program at CSIRO. We do research with Australian companies who are commercialising botanical medicines, and this could be cannabis, psychedelics, non-psychoactive bioactives, and we even work with Indigenous companies to help them to commercialise their products. So today we have a fantastic lineup of speakers following on from last evening's really interesting session of short talks with early career researchers. This afternoon we have a series of 5 speakers who are more established, experienced researchers in the area, and the talks span research on the plant all the way through to researching effects within patients. So we think this will be a really interesting session with a lot of interesting talks, great speakers, but really the purpose of this is that I guess we all recognise that if we're going to develop new commercial medicinal cannabis products for the future, research and development and innovation is going to be critical in that. And so I think for this audience it's good for them to see what sort of research and development is going on in Australia and where the area is heading. So our first speaker is Associate Professor Monika Doblin. She's Research Director of the ARC Research Hub for Medicinal Agriculture at La Trobe University, and she's going to give us an overview of the cannabis research landscape.
Thanks, Peter, and thanks for the invite to speak to you this afternoon. We, like others, many others in the room, think that there's a significant opportunity in medicinal cannabis, but of course there are considerable challenges. And what I've listed there on the screen is really what's been discussed over the last couple of days. You know, we have the same regulatory challenges as those in the industry. We need to abide by the same rules as everyone else. And that's expensive for a research provider. So we've spent quite a bit of time and energy in providing an environment where researchers can undertake medicinal cannabis research. And we think we're at a point where we're a launching pad for engaging with more broadly with the medicinal agriculture industry. We want to be involved in producing evidence-based research to help safeguard product quality and purity. That's absolutely essential to bring confidence to the industry. And that's really to help underpin the consumer patient safety requirements for the industry to grow. We need to be involved in training health professionals to be able to grow the industry. I guess also providing the fundamental aspects to medicinal cannabis in terms of understanding the modes of action of cannabinoids. So it's not just the CB1 and 2 receptors in the human body that are responding to cannabinoids. There are many others that Hunter Land discussed yesterday, and we want to be part of providing that evidence and fundamental knowledge, I guess, in the area. We also have a challenge in terms of being able to distinguish between the types of uses that cannabis is used for. So we at La Trobe have a hemp authority, so an ability to work on hemp, which is one of the same species as medicinal cannabis, and we've used that actually in our early work to, I guess, have a model by which we can actually start doing cannabis research. Cannabis is a really interesting plant botanically and is a fantastic training tool in a way to engage students and to essentially build a workforce that's going to be part of your workforce into the future. So it's important that we're providing opportunities for students and I guess some of the professional development that we have when we're engaging with other education providers. So the opportunities, of course, are that we can improve patient outcomes, and we've been working closely with the MCIA to help facilitate that. And really, we've been wanting to develop an export-ready industry, which is competitive globally, and that's the opportunity in Australia. So I'll talk more about how we've gone about doing that. And as I said, what we want to do is be able to produce some highly skilled workforce for the industry to grow into the future. So within the Medicinal Agriculture Hub, our vision and purpose is really at the preclinical end of the supply chain. And our mission really is to transform the production of high-quality plant therapeutics into an integrated national industry that spans from primary producers right through to manufacturers. And that's really, as I said, to help underpin a transformation in producing a commercially competitive industry for Australia. We want to provide evidence-based research to safeguard the quality and purity aspects and understand mode of action, and also then be able to train the workforce to deliver this into the future. And I guess being the independent trusted advisor, I guess, to industry as well, which is really important. So what does that hub look like? Currently it's a pretty sizable team. I think, from a research aspect, many industry partners don't have this type of workforce that is dedicated to research, and we have this currently. So we have a number of staff who are dedicated to medicinal cannabis research, and so around 30 to 40 people are working in this space, so quite considerable. It's a, sorry, the slide's been a bit compressed here, but it's a reasonable sized funding envelope that we've received. So this is from the Australian Research Council as well as industry and the university, and it's around about $25 million plus. So it's sizable, and so we've made some real inroads, I think. So the main areas that we've been looking to help underpin the industry are in two sort of aspects. So in one part, so theme one, looking at helping primary producers, so cannabis growers, and looking at ways to improving cultivation practice. And that's mostly been in an indoor environment because of our industry partners. The other aspect of that is sort of looking for improvements and using all sorts of tools and technologies available to help essentially get the most yield and quantity out of germplasm. The other aspect has been in adding value at the farmer end. So looking at extraction and synthesis technologies, looking at bioprospecting, so looking at other compounds within cannabis that are outside the cannabinoid and terpene space, and then also looking at novel technologies that can help assist in getting to that goal of a safe, highly effective and quality product. And some of those technologies I'll talk a bit about later, mostly in non-invasive phenotyping. So, and all of those, there's a bunch of different platform technologies that underpin all of that work. Everything from the omics side right through to chemical engineering. So what we've seen, I guess, over the last few years is that the scale of which production is occurring. So our major partner, Can Group, have started with, let's say, a smaller kind of controlled environment space. And what we've seen now is that they've moved to a larger facility, and any sort of scale up comes with challenges, right, to maintain quality through production. And so there's quite a high expense, so the pros and cons are listed on the screen. You probably don't need to know about those, but the inputs are considerable when we're talking about highly controlled facilities, but they're essential, I guess, to have uniform product at the end. But the scale of production is really having to amp to obviously cater for both local and export potential. And it's critical in, being competitive. So we think our work in this area is hopefully helpful to Can. Philippa and Peter in the audience, they can hopefully attest to that being the case. So most of our work currently has been in this glasshouse setting where we're really using things like artificial lighting to supplement natural light to be able to maximise yield. The MCIA have released a report recently looking at how the future growth in Australia might look like. And I'm not going to go through all of the different things that they've listed here, but we would wholeheartedly agree that this is really the model for which growth should be positioned. And we think that research across the value chain is really going to be a way to realise the full potential of medicinal cannabis. So I'm going to move a little bit into our capabilities, I guess, within the hub, and hopefully that will be of interest to you if you're looking for particular services. We have deep omics capability, which means that we can really look at individual molecules and right up through into the crop, how they're responding. And this is, I guess, important because if you're looking for traits, so genetic gain within your germplasm, if you're looking at diversifying in terms of products and looking to see, what's in a broad spectrum mix, we have all of the technologies that enable us to do a deep characterisation of those things. So we can look at the DNA level, at the transcript level, protein, and of course metabolites. I guess the other aspect that we've concentrated most recently on is phenomics, which is this non-invasive image phenotyping that we can use to monitor various things in plants. So there is some snapshots of what those things look like. The controlled growth plant phenotyping, we have a number of different sort of models. Some of those are on the screen, and the intent is that we're sort of stepping up from just the standard RGB kind of imagery to something which has got hyperspectral capability. Now, hyperspectral imaging essentially takes the spectrum of images and allows you to have a deeper look as to what is happening in the plant. So the example I have on the bottom right of the screen shows two different Arabidopsis plants. So Arabidopsis is a genetic model that we use in the lab. And you can see at the top that control plant looks a little greener than the bottom plant that is salt stressed. The middle image shows the chlorophyll content of those plants, and you can clearly see in using this index, the NDVI index, that the plants look different. Okay, and their photosynthetic capacity looks also different, so that's just signified by the different colours. But you can see the power of this technology, and if you are able to screen your plant material, you can quickly see what might be performing well and what plants might not be performing so well. So we think this is a transformative approach to crop maintenance that industry will really need to look at in more detail when they scale up. So this is just an image of our most recent sort of upgrade to our glasshouse facilities. So this is a 100 square metre glasshouse which has an XYZ system with a hyperspectral camera, and we can employ this to look at particular characteristics in plants. And the idea is that we're able to obtain real-time image data to monitor things like plant morphology, health, so things like nutrient status, as I showed you before, disease and pests, as well as yield. So basically we think this is going to be a cost-saving measure into the future because you're not going to have so many staff looking at thousands of plants. You're going to be able to use non-invasive technologies